Hello, good evening. Hi, this is Andy, and today we're going to talk about a nice little strategy here that I have using divergences. If you can see my chart right here, we are on the 1 minute chart of E-mini NQ futures contract. So today was also CPI, so you do have a nice big drop right here that you can just see at 7:30 in the morning Central Standard Time. But the good thing about today, a lot of people tend not to trade on news days, but it turned out that today was just like a really good trading day, and we'll see a little bit more of the chart. So before we talk about what was happening today and some of the patterns that are on the chart here, I'd like to talk about what I use as my indicators. Okay, so first and foremost, I have my trading oracle signals. You can see these right here. They are buy and sell golden signals. And, you know, uh, right here, yeah, these are the red ones are the sell, the green ones are buy. Then we have some golden signals too that are just part of the algorithm. Those are a little bit better of entries. Okay. And down below, I have some oscillators that help me with my divergences. These give me the extra confluence and the confidence to take some entries. So this first one here is part of the trading oracle signal right here. So it's the extended oscillator. So that's all preset right in here. The second one is a TSI, and this one is free from TradingView with the settings 6, 13, and 4. And the last one here, I'm really liking this one here because it does really help out with some of my decisions. So this is the TTM squeeze, and I have just changed the setting on that to 10. Okay, and it's been working quite well. So I'm gonna, leave this on for a while and see how everything turns out. Okay, so on the chart itself, on my chart itself here, what I have is I'm also using pivots, or some of you may know them as floor pivots. So these are really cool when it does come to trading. And let me go a little bit on a higher time frame here just so you can see. So pivots are actually a leading indicator. So at the end of the trading day, and then when the new trading day starts for the Globex session, these just show up automatically. They're calculated by the day before. So, and these work really great as support and resistance. So the one thing that I do, okay, because you have these really big gaps in these pivots. Okay, the white one is the main pivot right in here. Okay, so between these pivots, you can see the very large gap. So I like to split these in half and then half again. So I call these the midlines right in here. So I'm going to show you how we set that up right away. And this is something that you would do before you would start trading. So I manually set these up. So basically I take my line tool and I will go from, this is support 1, the first pivot. And if you hold your shift key, you can get a straight line going down to your S2. That's your second pivot right here. And on my trend line, it's a setting in there, and you can see where the middle is. It creates like a little dot. So what I then do is I take my horizontal ray, like this, and I will drop it in and just line it up with that center dot, so sometimes you won't get it exact, but try to get it as exact as you can. And then what I do then is I just take half of that and I will do that between the support 1 pivot and the major midline, which is the thicker dotted line right here, and I find the middle of that point. So then I add my horizontal ray, and now I'm all set to go. And then you can delete these, actually, these lines here. So the other thing I like to do is when I do put down the my midlines, you can go to your tool and lock them in. You can change colors that whatever colors you want, but the main thing is make sure you lock them in here. So then this way, if you grab it, it doesn't move out of your chart. It just stays locked in unless you delete them. So, and you will see how, as price moves along, how how price action likes to go to these midlines, and it works really great. And it can be great for take profit. They can be just as a nice visual to where price could be heading towards. So it's a really nice feature to have on the chart. I like it and I enjoy it. So, but today on the chart, as I said earlier, CPI, you know, um, right here at 7:30 is when price came out, and you just saw a major drop. Okay, so the one thing that I always tend to notice whenever we come up to a news day, and let me go back into the 1 minute time frame here. Sorry, let me just zoom right back in. And I just want to show you guys something on these news days, and maybe you can decide whether you want to take the trade or maybe not take the trade. But I tend to find divergences that happened right before the news hits. As you can see right here, this here is a nice bearish divergence, and you can just see it doing the opposite on my oscillator. Now I only need to see the divergence on one of these three oscillators, so the reason, I have three oscillators on here is because they help each other out. Sometimes you don't find it on one, but you will see it on the other, and that's where I'd like to um, then I decide to take on that trade. Okay, so in this case, this worked out really fine. So it's up to you whether you'd like to take trades during news or not. A lot of people don't, and they just let things, run its course, through the news, and then they just wait a while until things settle down a bit. You know, um, Before the New York Open, which is this wide green bar over here, and I'd like to show you guys some really nice examples in here of divergences during the London session. So one of the, if you do trade the London session or are up early in the morning in the States, you can find some really nice divergence patterns. And the really cool thing about that is that price tends to run a little bit slower and a little bit smoother around this time frame. Okay, so as you can see right here, I have some pre-marked already. Okay, so London session opens, here at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, but and you can see it, that's just way up here, so we're going to start down here. Okay, so you can see my EMAs right here, and these are also part of the Trading Oracle um, indicator here. So these work out really well. Okay, so reason I really like it because it just gives me a trend bias. So right here, just because I have these on, it just lets me know that I am in a short position here. And this yellow line that you see here is VWAP, just regular VWAP. And I also have a 200 EMA cloud right here. So, and these also play an important role in making a decision on whether you're going to take this trade. So, and my little strategy here works very well, especially when it is trending. So, right here between this peak and this peak right here, and I use the body of the candles. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit right here so you can see that. So, from this body to this body, you can see that this side is a little bit lower, and if you look at the oscillator, it's making a higher high over on this side. So this lets me know that there's going to be a hidden bearish divergence. Okay, and these patterns, people, they show up every day. I mean, they can just be a hidden divergence or regular type of divergence, bearish or bullish. You will find them every day on the charts. Doesn't matter what you're trading, what time frame, you will find them. So the really cool thing about this is I like the sequence that I'm getting here also, because I do have VWAP, which is on top. I have my cloud down here, and the important thing is the red, orange, and teal EMAs right here, and I love the sequence. There's a big enough gap in here that lets me know that this is a strong push down. So this is where I get confident, and I execute the trade right at the golden signal down in here. So trading with the trend is important, especially if you are a new trader. I suggest if you're a new trader to try this out on a one-to-one risk to reward. Okay, there's be plenty of times to get fancy once you gain experience, but once you start learning how to do this, a one-to-one would be just perfect. So I'm going to go right in here and just kind of show you. So here's the signal right here. So you would put your stop above the swing high, and a nice one-to-one would be right here. And that's all you need right there. So this is a futures NQ. It's $20 a point. So this is 13 points. So it's $260 just on this one little trade on one contract. So I just wanted to point that out. And never be greedy as a beginner trader. Okay, so just take that money and do it again the next day. Okay, you may just want to take one trade or maybe up to two, but don't get too greedy and don't get too fancy with this. Okay, for those who are a little bit more advanced, your risk to reward can be a little bit more. It could be 1 to 1.5, or 1 to 2. It could be a good one. And here you have 26 points. This is over $500 trade on one contract right here. Here we go. I just sent that to the back. You can see the candles a little bit better right now. But what I like to do is I always like to look left and create zones on where I will take my exit. Okay, so here we haven't seen anything in quite some time, so sometimes you do have to go back and try to find price. So here we are. Let me just show this right here. Sorry about that. We are at this level right here, and this would be really good if you mark up everything before you can even start to trade. So if we were right here and looking straight left, right here, this point would be a good spot to start marking up your trades, and then just run that all the way through, because sometimes this will affect your trade in later times. Okay, so as you can see right here, so if I was taking onto this trade, maybe I might want to take it right up to the zone, or as if you can, let me just push this back, as if you can see here, there's the pivot. here's the pivot point right here. So I can take my trade even right up to that pivot. So it doesn't really matter what you do. The important thing is as you start trading, is you really need to, get your entry strategy down. Okay, the rest are all details that you have to follow a trading plan of yours. And we can talk about trading plans at another session. So here is another divergence I want to show you guys right here. It's another hidden divergence. Whenever you're going with the trend, it's best to find the hidden divergences right here. So in this case, let me just go back to the 1 minute time frame. Here we go. So got these marked for that time frame right here. So right here you can clearly see that price is making a lower high, and if I go and look at my oscillator, look what's happening around these areas right here. This is going down the same way, although you can hit this little area, this little peak right here, and you have another divergence confirmation. And on the TSI, it's got a higher high right here. And even on the TTM squeeze, you've got another confirmation right here. So I got 3 confluences. So that's pretty good. Now remember, I only need 1. But if I got 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3, that's even better. So now I feel confident taking on this trade. And once again, you can see the midline right here, that dotted line. You can take that trade, right up to that, and you can get some really good points. So a good analogy that I like to use when I am using these EMAs, it reminds me, of like a river. Okay, so right now these EMAs, it's going down, so it's like the downstream of a river. If that's one way to remember it. Okay, you don't want to be in a boat going upstream, because that will get you in trouble. Okay, so if you're going to trade, divergences as a beginner, remember, always go downstream. The current of the river is flowing downstream, and you have a higher probability of gaining good candle bars along the way in your favor. Okay, so if I see this little signal, for instance, and I'm going to go up, well, it's very short-lived, because then what happens? You're going to get, wicked out, down here by these wicks, and stopped out, and, you're going to lose that way. Okay, so, coming to some of these other indicators, not indicators, but other price points right in here, I see that I have equal highs on my candles right here. So I look down and I try to see if I find price moving downward. Not price, but my oscillators giving a lower low, and I do see that on these 2 oscillators right here. So once again, that gives me the confidence to take on this trade once I see, my trading oracle signal, and in this case, it's a golden signal right here. So I'm going to take on this trade. So if I enter this trade, I could go right up to my midline right here. It's a great visual because you can really see as you're going down. Or what you could do is you can always look left, and you can always go up to a zone type of an area and exit your trade here. Okay, for those that are a little bit more advanced and want to let it run a little bit more, because as the trade pushes down, you can see it's going underneath the 0 line now of your oscillator up here, and under your TSI. Right now, price is underneath the zero line, so that means it's in bearish territory. Plus your TTM squeeze is all red too, going down. So you could take out a certain percentage if you'd like, keep a runner going. And in this case, price just really dropped around 6 a.m. Central Standard. I think this was earnings reports that were coming out before the open. So, once again, you gotta decide whether you want to take on a trade during news like this or, um, just kind of stop right before the earnings gets released in the morning. So that's what this was right here. But as you can see, check this out. Even though price came down really heavy, look where it stopped. Right on the midline of the pivot. This is the major midline, the halfway point between the S1 pivot and the S2 pivot. And then it just took a bounce up. So this is why I like to use pivots on here. They're very helpful as a good visual. Because if I was in this trade and I saw this going down, I see the pivot, and sometimes you want to exit the trade right before it, or just right up to it, or just right near it, or when you see a first bullish candle, maybe that could be a good signal in time for you to exit that trade. Okay, so now what's happening here is that the trade is going bullish, but my bias here is still saying bearish according to my EMAs, VWAP, and my 200 EMA cloud right here. So a really good reversal divergence would be a bearish divergence signal. So right here I do find it. And this is really cool because sometimes these candles, they like to go into the EMAs, and I like seeing that. That gives me a good indication that price, could be just, bouncing right off of that. And especially when I see the divergences in here. So right here, this is from this peak to this peak, it's making a higher high, as you can see that. And from this peak to this peak on the oscillator, you can clearly see that it's making a lower high right here. And on the TSI, it's making equal highs. So this still counts as a divergence. Equal highs, whether if it's on the candles or on your oscillators, it's still part of a divergence pattern. So here I have double confirmation. If I wanted to see on my TTM, what I like to do is I just hover over this little peak area, and this is kind of going down just a tad. So in a way, there's three confirmations there. I just you can go to your scale over here and raise this up a little bit, so you can really see this end just kind of just drop in just a tad. So it's basically three confirmations. So then you can take on this trade and follow your trading plan. Make sure you're very well aware of what your exit strategy is going to be as you're taking on this trade. Okay, so the other really cool thing about this trade is that this is actually just pure price action right in here. Okay, so this is your low on this end, and then what did price do right here? It went high, and down here it came low. Now this peak or this valley down here didn't go below these candles right here. As a matter of fact, it turned around to go high. So for me, this is the start of a new trend actually moving to the upside. Okay, some people, what they like to do is over above the swing high, they would take an entry, once price breaks this area right here, and then you can gain your points that way. For me, I would like to see if I would find some sort of a hidden bullish divergence. So what I do is I look at this peak area or this valley down here and I line them up, with the crosshairs of my cursor right here. So it'll be this, between this valley and this valley. And what am I seeing right here? This is going up. Okay, so if I'm down here, this is going up. So that's not a divergence pattern. I am looking down here on the TSI. That's going up. It's not a divergence pattern. And same thing with the TTM squeeze. It's going up. There's no divergence, between this valley and this valley. But that's okay. But what is this telling you? I have three oscillators right here that is telling me that the momentum is shifting from short to long on three different areas right here. Okay, so this I would just wait then for my trading oracle signal and take my trade going up, just like that. Okay. Some of you might say, well, down this leg, I do see a nice little bullish divergence, and that's fine. This is it right here, and you can clearly see the opposite happening right here on your oscillator. So this is an extra little confluence that's telling me that price is pushing up. So backtest all these things that I talk about today, and you will find some really good results. Okay, so once again, we're coming up to price right here. We're coming up, and this is right before the CPI report. There was a nice bearish divergence. Once again, we're still above VWAP, and price just went right to the 200 EMA cloud. We had a nice little spike, little liquidity grab right up through here, and then price just, took a tumble, as you saw. So, but this is interesting, okay? So, look what happens though as price just kept going. It went kind of right down to this pivot. I think it's the S2 pivot, right down to here, and right at the New York Open, which is at 8:30, right here, this long wick. It wicked down right to one of the midlines, as you can see it right here. Let me just zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it if you're having a hard time. You can see that dotted line right there, and this is a nice rejection wick right here. This is telling me that it's high probability that price is gonna be moving up. So what do you do over here? It's pretty much one of the same things. I like to see if I can find a divergence right around the New York Open, which is this right here. Okay, so if price is coming down right here and you're just kind of getting some movement, a lot of these little retracements going up, I'm just gonna wait. It's not really running smooth to come down here than to go up smoothly. Okay, it is going up and down, up and down. It's making, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and that's all price action. But I am looking for a nice divergence around the New York Open because price likes at times to reverse itself right through here. So what does that tell me? What do I do about my my EMAs? Well, remember, trends don't last forever. Okay, at some point there's going to be a turn in the trend, whether it's a bullish or a bearish move. It's going to be a nice turn. So I here have a nice little zone area drawn out. So when I do look for reversal divergences, I really like to find a nice zone area where price, reversed, and we saw that in the beginning of the start of the segment here. And this is another nice area where price could possibly reverse and go bullish in here. So with my EMAs, finally, it's coming down, and this is a nice transitional period where you can see them narrowing in together. And finally, right up in here is where they transition and they fan out, and you have that other color scheme, red, orange, and teal, going up for a long position. So before we get into this here, my divergence down in here is right here. It's right on the zone and right on the pivot right here. And right here is the trading oracle signal. So that gives me my go ahead. And as I'm looking down on my oscillators here, this is the TSI, you can see it making a higher high over here. Okay, this one isn't doing that. This one is making a lower low. See that? It's in the same direction. So this one gets crossed out. This one is not good, but this one here is good. Okay, and even on my TTM squeeze, this is going up a bit. So I even have 2 out of the 3 confirmations. And right in here, I'll take my trade going up. Okay, so this is interesting because lately, if a lot of you have been trading NQ or even SPY, that price has been just really choppy. So this is why I decided to be on the 1 minute today, only because of how choppy price has been, especially during the New York Open. So I found something really interesting, while this chop was happening, that this was forming a nice bullish flag right here, or if you want to say this is a descending channel. But, to me, this is a nice flag. This is the flagpole, and this is the flag right here. And it's a bullish, and it broke out. And what happened once again? It went into another channel over here, another descending channel, which these are really cool because these break out to the top. Okay. That's the probability of these patterns, that they will just break up to the top end right here. So even though I see this, and that's why I have these marked, I'm still going to try to find some sort of confirmation that will tell me, what, I am going to take this trade going to the top. So, and I know right now, because my EMAs, they're really tightening up in here, and it's transitioning, going bullish. So I'm going to look for a bullish divergence in here and see if I can find something. Okay, so just between this valley and this valley, okay, you can, I'm going to just get this marked right in here. Okay, and right in here, I see my divergence. This is moving up right in here. And also on the TTM squeeze, this is also moving up. So this is doing the opposite. And that's what's telling me that this is a divergence in here. Okay. If you want to look for something a little greater, I can go down from this bottom area down to this peak right here. I'm just going to change that to red just to, make it look easier. And I'm going to see if I can find even a continuation, a hidden bullish divergence. So just by looking between here and up here, I'm not getting that. It's going the same direction. Same thing. Well, let me see. So if I go from this little valley and I go straight, there we go. I have equal lows. So I even have confirmation right here on this indicator, on this oscillator, that this is a valid hidden bullish divergence pattern. Okay, so there are a couple of options in how to proceed with this. One was just the pattern of the channel right here. The other was a bullish divergence within the channel, okay? And the other is a hidden bullish divergence that we saw off of price action here and the oscillator, the TSI, down in here. So the more you practice finding these divergences, the more you just train your eye, and over time, you don't even mark these lines in here. I do this just so you guys can see them. But as you're going in this trade, you automatically can see what's going to be a divergence and what isn't. Something like this, yeah, maybe sometimes I use my crosshair just to kind of see if that is equal lows, or maybe I will draw a line. But over time, you're not going to start drawing in lines because you're going to recognize these things. Okay, and then what happened here? Price just really took off. It took off and went above VWAP and above the 200 EMA cloud. And so as price is taking off right here, it's stopping right at one of these midlines right in here, these little minor midlines, okay? And here we can clearly, I want to see if I can find a nice divergence, price pulling down, because, price just was pretty steep, and eventually price is going to come down. And usually when price just shoots up this, fast and really up high, usually you have consolidation up in here, so you have to be careful for that. And in this case, what did price do? It formed this really nice symmetrical triangle in here. So, and it was wide enough where you can take a couple of scalps in here. Okay, so right through here, I do find a nice bearish divergence right in here. Okay, so from this little peak to this peak, so these are my 2 points of interest right in here, and I am going to look down on my oscillators here and see if I can find the opposite. What is this doing? So if price is making a higher high, I need to see a lower high right in here. You see that? It's going down. So just by the first one, this gives me confirmation that this is going to start to push down. Okay? And on the TSI, it's doing the exact same thing. It's just going down a little bit on this end, but it's going down. And on the TTM squeeze, check this out. This is down. You can even see that. So I've got 3 confirmations right here, 3 confluences, plus the trading oracle signal, and I'm going to go down. So I can take my exit right at the pivot point right here, or VWAP is not too far away. So sometimes price likes to go to VWAP, and in this case, it was bouncing right off of VWAP, and also the pivot point. So these are some really good points that you can gain from this. So before this becomes a triangle, you really don't know what's going to happen after this, because here now, remember, this area right here, okay, this is where all of the EMAs switched positions now. So now we have our sequence that we want, which is the red, orange, and teal to go up, okay? So in this case, we're looking for buy signals in here, but, as you can see, price was consolidating sideways right here and formed a symmetrical triangle. So usually once I see maybe like the second peak, I'll start drawing in a line like this just to kind of see what's happening. I want to see if price is going to continue pushing down possibly. But then, at this point, when I do see another valley right here bouncing off of the 200 EMA cloud, you start drawing your line, and then you're like, ah, look at that. It's starting to form, either a pennant or a some sort of a triangle in here. So this is where you really have to take caution and just kind of wait and just kind of see what happens. Okay, because sometimes with these triangles, you just don't know which direction they're going to break out. If you look at charts, you'll see that if price is coming up from underneath the triangle, it should exit to the top. Well, this is not the case. Okay, and what happened here is that price broke out from the bottom of the triangle right in here. So a couple, something else that I saw in here too is that towards the end, right in here, this started to form a nice little rising wedge right in here. So this, for those who can spot these, this can also be another indicator that price could be breaking down from the bottom, at least, a little bit, but we're not really going to get the full view of what really happened until it really does happen. And sometimes price likes to come back up and retest this level, but this got right into the way of VWAP and these EMAs, so you can really see price really try to break right through, but we got blocked right in here. So what's happening in here now? Look at these EMAs, guys. Once again, it was a short-lived rise going up. These EMAs are getting closer together, and once again, right in this area, okay, this is where the transition is happening, where price now is going to go bullish. My bias is now bullish once again because I am getting that EMA sequence of red, orange, and teal. That's the sequence that I like to see for bearish bias right here. And once again, price is going to be right underneath the VWAP and the 200 EMA. So this was just a very short-lived price action right above VWAP and the cloud, before it made its descent right underneath and following this nice little trend. So the really cool thing about these transitional type areas that you see this is that once you see this and then price fans out, in this case red, orange, and teal, is that you will most likely, and there's a high probability that there's going to be a pullback right into that EMA. Okay, so this is what I like to see, something like this. This one didn't quite pull all the way in, but once I see that this pullback went right into these EMAs, or sometimes it might go up to the orange, this usually happens. And then when you get that signal, price likes to, in this case, take a nice dive going down. So we have a nice golden signal in here, and the golden is a little bit more of an accurate signal telling you that price is pushing down. So plus in this case right here, if you started to see the whole pattern, it's a broadening pattern right in here, and a small breakout to the bottom, but I mean this thing is just taken off to the downside to begin with. But even before this happened, right up here, okay, we have a nice bearish divergence, and you can see that, right, let me just change this color to white again. You can see this price is making a higher high, and I'm going to try to compare that with my oscillators down here, and you can really see this. You see that? The oscillator is making, a lower high right in here. So this is all the confirmation I need, but I still like to check the other ones to see what's really happening. So this one is making equal highs, which is another confirmation. And right here is not much really happening. It's just kind of, from this hump, what's happening is it just bleeds into a short. So that's really interesting because this here is telling me that price is looking to go short, right there also. And, you can take on your signal right here and enter your trade. And once again, you can take your trade up to one of these midlines or whatever your um, trading plan calls for. In this case, it just went a little bit past that, but that's okay. It's okay. You don't have to exit to the very end. The idea is that you are taking a trade that you could identify. For me, these are my A plus trading setups, and from here, I know that because of the sequence that I have seen, with the 200 EMA cloud above, VWAP, and then the red, orange, and teal, that I'm confident that price is going to move. Okay, so only take trade setups that work for you. For all you know, maybe you like to just take bearish divergences. If you're a beginner and you can really spot these and really recognize your confluences, then by all means, just wait for them. You will find these things, daily on the chart, especially on lower time frames, between 1 and 3 minutes. You will find a lot of these type of patterns. So, here price just really, dumped, and around this period, there was a little bit of consolidation coming through here, but look at the bias. My bias, once again, remember the current of the river is still pointing down. Okay, I still have VWAP up on top. I still have my 200 EMA cloud, red, orange, and teal. The distance between these bands is pretty darn good. So it's telling me that this is a strong bias, for the downside. So right through here, what I'd like to see then is I'm going to see if I can find some sort of a hidden bullish, a hidden bearish divergence. If I can find it, then you can take your trade going down. If not, you know, you can just let it go and see about taking another opportunity, for trades. So right through here, if I'm going to look at this peak and this peak right here, okay, this here is going down right here. Okay, now I'm going to look at my oscillators down here. What I want to see the opposite. And once again, this one is going higher up. I don't have this one in the way, but you can clearly see it right here that this is going up, that's going down. That's all I need to see. And when I see the signal then, the trading oracle signal, then I'm going to take my trade and just, you can go down to one of these minor midlines, which is good. Or actually, I have this yellow line, which I had pre-marked. This was another zone area to the far left where, price, it was a support to the very far left. And, you can take price down here to exit, or, you could left a runner going up to the next pivot point, which was down here. Okay, so some really good moves today by price. Okay, so let's move on here because we're just running a little bit out of time here, but I just want to show you what's happening down in here. Okay, so after a while, you know, once again, price pulls up right into this to the EMAs. I get a nice golden signal right in here. This is really beautiful, and right here I had found a nice a hidden bearish divergence. You can clearly see it, and I have confirmation on all three indicators down below. So you could take this trade going down to this nice little zone, which I marked up here in the orange bar, and or you can, a little bit further than that was another major midline right here. So with that being said, what was happening down here? We had another bearish divergence right here. So this is what I really like, especially right at a zone area. So way to the left, there was a support area. So price once again came right down to that support area plus one of these midlines, these major midlines right here. So for me, that's a good confluence that lets me know that price is going to be reversing. So I'm checking out my oscillators down here. So down through here, I have confirmation on three oscillators telling me that price is shifting, the momentum is shifting upwards. Okay, so once again, I only needed to see it on one. It doesn't matter which one. And I wait for my trading oracle signal, and this took off towards the end of the day. So you could have taken this right up to the S3 pivot point. You could have let a runner just keep on going and could have went right up to one of the minor midlines or one of the other major midlines, which is the darker dash lines up here. Okay, so this is how, this is just one way of trading with trading Oracle. There's other ideas, that others will present, in future videos. But I just really wanted to show you some of these really nice divergences that you do find daily in any chart. I know that this is just one chart, but trust me, these patterns. You can find these patterns, divergence patterns, throughout any ticker that you look at. Doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin, if it's SPY, if it's a stock, Forex, you're going to find these patterns everywhere. Okay, so if you guys have a interest in learning more about our trading Oracle signals, then you can look at the description below. There's going to be some information, and hope we hear from you very soon. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Thank you for spending your time with me, and we'll see you on the charts. Take care.